This is now personal against all liars, deceivers, abusers, and killers of humanity for profit.
So recently, YouTube decided to take down a roll call video, and they did it specifically on roll call part number 14. Why did YouTube, which happens to be the government, happen to take down roll call part number 14? So on this particular video, we talked about the fact that everybody that you see in your entertainment sphere, all right, especially the people who are movers and shakers, especially of the music industry, are related. So on roll call part number 14, we did specifically mention the artist who was known as Puff Daddy, then known as P. Diddy, then known as Diddy, and today he says that you can go by adding the name Love to the name. We did specifically mention that the person known as Diddy is related to Jay-Z, and that they are all related. Jay-Z, P. Diddy, Kanye West, Rick Ross, 2chainz are all related. So that is part of the reason why they decided to take down the roll call series part number 14 specifically. And on part number 14, we did also mention the fact that Beyonce has a body double, which goes to shows and events and acts like her, and that the body double of Beyonce is actually a female. Also on roll call part number 14, we did mention the fact that most of the transgenders that you see, which are in places of influence all around the world, that they are owned as property. Like you would own maybe a television set, an iPhone, a house, a car, a piece of clothing, that these people are owned and that they are handled and that they have handlers. We also did mention the fact on roll call part number 14 that homosexuality is a form of control by the government. The families who run the world through homosexuality because it is a form of control. So this is the reason why YouTube, via the government, took down the roll call series. Let me read something into this particular letter which YouTube sent us on the reasons why they brought down roll call part number 14. We're going to leave a link of this email for you to go read so you can actually see the words and find out if this is true. Now, normally, under normal circumstances, when YouTube takes down a video, they give you very specific reasons why. They tell you the minute mark in which the reasons that they take down your video. Okay? Now, YouTube is trying to shut us down. But it's becoming very obvious that if they shut us down, that the whole truth that we have been telling you right from the first day that Tricks of the S-Tray channel came up will be very, very evident that we were telling you guys the truth. So they are finding ridiculous ways of slowing down you guys hearing what we have to tell you. So now they gave us a warning on this particular letter and said that if we do not abide by their rules, that they will stop us from uploading new videos. And at the same time, they'll be taking down these videos one by one. So you guys do not understand the reality of our world. Now, before I continue to read this letter to you, there's something I want to make YouTube understand. The people who are behind YouTube, who work for the government, who work for the families who run the world. I want to give you a very specific message. There was a time in the history of this world in which an ability and power was given for the truth to be hidden. Now, the families who run the world know exactly what we are saying right here because they translated the Bible from the original scripts and they flipped over this part that they were given power over the earth for a very specific time period. And that specific time period elapsed in May 2019. So that's the reason why such movies as Endgame came up, and that's the reason such movies as Rise of Skywalker, all right, the latest Star Wars saga. So with such movies as Rise of Skywalker and with such movies as Avengers Endgame, the government, the families who run the world knew that the time has come for the truth, which they have controlled for a very certain period, to come to an end. So this message is specifically for those who are behind YouTube, the people who go through the videos, and to the government, the families who run the world. I want you to understand something that you guys don't quite have a grasp and a hold of. Everything that you have done up till now, until May 2019, for a certain period of time which the public is not aware of, because you people have changed the accounting of time, was given to you by the Creator so that you would be able to weed out all the enemies against Him. That is the reason why this power was given to you for this duration of time, which expired in May 2019. So that you could be able to make sure that everybody who loves lies and deception can go to hell and the lake of fire. The Creator gave you the ability to do so. Now, there's one thing that you must understand. The families that run the world, the people who are behind YouTube, who look at our videos, that every technology and invention that you have in this world has the Creator inside it. You may not have known this because Satan and the angels which gave you this technology did not fully disclose what the technology is all about. There's part of the technology in which even the people, the men who were brought about to invent it, don't know what it's about, because the Creator is in everything. So you might think that you have a control over the internet. You really, really don't. You might think that you have control over all the GPS location positions in this world. You really don't. You might think that you have control over everything. You really don't. You were only given that power and control for a very specific time period which has elapsed. That is the reason why you guys acted the movie called Avengers Endgame, because you know that we are in the end game. You also know for a fact that is the reason why you acted the movie Rise of Skywalker in Star Wars. Who gave you those names? You know because you took the scriptures, the original scriptures, and knew exactly the time period for which you guys were given this power to be able to hide our truth and the reality of our world. And that time period has elapsed. So I want you guys to understand something, the government and YouTube, all right, who are trying to control the truth. It's not going to be possible. Why? Because you have to understand this. A very specific job was given to you. What we are doing in telling people about the truth has no direct connection with whatsoever you guys are doing by telling us lies. Lies are for those who hate the truth, is to lead them down to hell. Your job description and our job description is totally different. So you trying to control our own job description, which is to let people who are interested in the truth to know the truth, is not going to work, because you do not have control over the situation, because you were given a very specific job. Stick to your lane, because the game now has changed. We are not interfering whatsoever you're doing. We are only here for those who seek the truth. So I want you, YouTube, and the government, the families who run the world, to remember this message. Now let's read something in here for those who are interested in the truth, to see how the government who owns YouTube tries to influence and twist words to make you believe that what we say is what that we don't say. On this letter that YouTube sent to us, they said how your content violated the policy. It says content glorifying or inciting violence against another person or group of people is not allowed on YouTube. We have never incited violence against anybody on our channel. We have never ever specifically said, or even in a way, all right, tried to mean, either directly or indirectly, said that anybody should consort to violence against any group of people whatsoever. All the information that we have said is to the fact that you should take this information that we give you and save your soul. We've never told anybody to attack anybody verbally or physically in any way. So where did you guys get this information that what we are saying here is inciting violence? Now, continuing on, you also say, we also don't allow any content that encourages hatred of another person or group of people based on their membership in a protected group. Who is the protected group? The government is the protected group. That is what you're saying here, because all our videos do not incite any violence in any way, shape, or form against anybody. All what we are presenting is the truth and reality so that people can make informed decisions. That's all we are doing. Your job description as YouTube is different from ours. When you start putting your hands in what's not yours, bearing in mind that your time period of power to control the truth and reality of our world has been taken away from you, you're dipping your hands against something else that you have no clue. So you people on YouTube who are the editors and the people who are reviewing videos, I want you to know that every time that you go against a video, that you're going against something else of supreme intelligence, which Satan bows to. Let's continue on.
I just kept been so Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be that's who made and taking her to the I just kept been so Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be that's who many you know.
Certainly a legendary action star, Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, Han Solo, and quite a square for him landing on that California golf course.
Experienced pilot, not his first crash, actually. Experienced pilot, not his first crash, actually. Experienced pilot, not his first crash. Experienced pilot, not his first crash, actually. This morning he's recovering in the hospital. The injury is not life-threatening. ABC's Nick Watts starts us off from the scene of the accident. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, George. Well, that is what is left of Harrison Ford's vintage airplane pancaked on a golf course here in West Los Angeles. Now, Ford, who had recently wrapped filming on Star Wars Episode 7, was indulging his other great passion in life, flight, when disaster struck at about 2:15 in the afternoon.
I hope he's gonna make it, dear.
Watch this small plane. Harrison Ford at the controls, clipping trees in the distance before it goes down, caught on video by a stunned onlooker. Oh no, oh no. Just seconds after takeoff, the engine failing, listen to Ford's voice as he radios the tower for help.
53178, engine failure, immediate return. Ryan 178, runway 21, clear to land. Go to 3. Ryan 178, runway 3, clear to land. 53178, engine failure, immediate return. Ryan 178, runway 21, clear to land. Go to 3. Ryan 178, runway 3, clear to land. 53178, engine failure, immediate return. Ryan 178, runway 21, clear to land. Go to 3. Ryan 178, runway 3, clear to land. 53178, engine failure, immediate return. Ryan 178, runway 21, clear to land. Go to 3. Ryan 178, runway 3, clear to land.
But he can't make it.
It looked like it was short of the runway.
Crash landing on a golf course fairway. Startled golfers, including a spinal surgeon, rushed to the downed World War II era plane.
Taking her to the I just kept been so Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be that's who made taking her to the I just kept been so Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be that's who many you know. taking her to the. This is some Mr. Funk Master. Yo, there's too many, you know. There's too many, you know. Taking her to the. This is some Mr. Funk Master. Yo, there's too many, you know. Taking her to the. This is some Mr. Funk Master. There's too many, you know.
NASA's working on an experimental aircraft designed to fly faster than the speed of sound without producing any of the noise or those alarming sonic booms. Now, it doesn't look like much at this point, but the X-59 Quest, short for Quiet Supersonic Technology, could be a game changer when it comes to air travel. And here's the science behind that innovation. Engineers at NASA want to travel faster than the speed of sound, but there's one thing standing in their way.
A sonic boom is the sound of a shock wave that's created when any object travels faster than the speed of sound. It could be an aircraft, or a supersonic bullet, or even the tip of a whip when a whip is cracked, or a meteor that's entering the atmosphere.
Jonathan Rathsam, a research aerospace engineer, wants you to imagine this.
A good way to think about it is like a boat that's traveling through the water.
A boat creates a V shape in the water as it travels.
And a sonic boom is quite similar. It comes off the tip of the aircraft, but it's in 3 dimensions, so it's more like a cone than just a V. A shock wave means that the air can't react fast enough for this object that's traveling so fast.
The pressure release creates the loud boom, but engineers are trying to decrease the disruptive boom with an aircraft.
It creates a different type, a much lower, much quieter type of sound that we've been calling a sonic thump.
Taking her to the this is some Mr. Funk Master. Yo, there's too many. Taking her to the this is some Mr. Funk Master. Yo, there's too many, you know. taking her to the fever. I did this, yeah, so Mr. Funkmaster, yo, be on, that's who made taking her to the I did this, yeah, so Mr. Funkmaster, yo, be on, that's who many you know, that's who many you know, taking her to the I did this, yeah, so Mr. Funkmaster, yo, that's who many you know, taking her to the I did this, yeah, so Mr. Funkmaster, yo, that's who many you know.
So, you've learnt by now that nothing in this world flies through the air more than 80 miles per hour. You know that fact today. The second thing that you also know is the fact that the higher you go up in the atmosphere, right, that you have less oxygen. And because of less oxygen, your brain and bodily functions cannot function right. So even though air cabins are pressurized in airplanes, there is still a problem of humidity. And what is humidity? It means water in the air you breathe. Because people do not understand that air and water have to work hand in hand for your breathing to be efficient. If there's less water, the less efficient the air is when you breathe it. Okay? So you've understood those facts. So after a period of time, as the humidity gets lesser, the breathing becomes difficult. And the same problem, even with the air cabin pressurized, comes up over and over again. So that's why airplanes cannot stay far too long flying, because the humidity gets reduced, and then the same problem which they were trying to alleviate by making the air cabin to be pressurized sets in, and people start getting disoriented. When you get disoriented, you can do anything because you don't know which one is which. You can't make sense of what's going on around you, and the only thing that comes out of that is death. So since you have all these facts, and you also understand the fact that all airplanes, all right, commercial airplanes which use jet turbines, are autopiloted and remotely controlled from ground control. Because of this problem, that the higher you go up in the atmosphere, you get disoriented because of less oxygen. So everything has to be remotely done. Then you can understand that space travel is impossible. So all those rockets that you've seen go up in space and say they have people strapped behind them, there is nobody absolutely in there, because it's impossible. You're sending up someone to die. It's unnecessary. So there's a whole hoax that NASA creates to make you believe all these false lies, because NASA is run by the families who run the world, who run the government, who are owned by Satan, to make you believe all these lies. So another thing that I want you guys to pay very special attention to the fact is this: all military aircraft are autopiloted. Okay? And since all military aircraft are autopiloted and remotely controlled, the militaries of the world who say they have conflicts, you guys will probably hear of this in the news. You know, there's conflict in maybe Iranian airspace or over the China Sea between the airplanes of the United States, China, Russia, or Iran. There was a conflict and they shut down some planes, and there's some sort of, you know, conflict going on, that shooting down of opposing military aircraft planes happens. But the truth is this: since all military aircraft are autopiloted and remotely controlled, because it's impossible for a human being to stay inside that airplane and do such crazy maneuvers. So on this video that you just watched, you probably heard this lady talk about the fact that NASA is trying to create a plane without sonic booms, because sonic booms are all false. It's not the plane going through a sound barrier or anything, because as we have shown you, for you to get up to that speed which they claim that you have to have a sonic boom, you have to go against sound barriers, and they say that the sound barrier is about 717 miles per hour. And we asked a very logical question: what type of hand speed would it require for you to catch a plane or anything moving at 717 miles per hour? It's virtually impossible. But yet you have people on camera catching sonic booms. Go take a look. You'll see that they use normal cameras and normal hand speed to catch a plane flying that fast. It is impossible because it's a lie. And here NASA on this video is trying to explain to you that they are trying to create a plane that will not have that sonic boom sound when it flies through. Because why? It is a setup. Because they want to make you believe that they will be able to fly, right, at the speed of sound without a sonic boom. That's what they're trying to make you believe here. It's a setup. Now, what is a sonic boom? So when a plane accelerates, okay, and the turbines spool and the turbines turn faster, it generates a lot of water in the atmosphere because of turning the air molecules so quick. So when that happens, it creates that loud sound. It's just the turbines doing that because they're accelerating faster, and faster means that they're moving from a speed of probably 20 miles per hour to 80 miles per hour, which is the maximum speed of anything that can fly through air. Because after 80 miles an hour, the air becomes a concrete wall that nothing can pass through. So this is what they don't tell you. Okay? So when the planes turn their turbines faster and create that air molecule so quick, that is what creates that sound. Sonic booms. That's all what it is. Because if we pull this picture right here, let's bring it back a little bit here and show you what we're talking about. Okay, right here where you see where they call it a sonic boom, this is water. And where is the water? Is it in front of the airplane? I want you to take a good look at this picture. Is this sonic boom sound which is created here, is it in front of the airplane? No, it's not. It's behind where the turbines are in the airplane. It's not in front. I hope you understand that now. That is because of the turbines turning so quick and accelerating from 20 miles per hour to a top speed of 80 all of a sudden causes this. That is what is happening. And after 80 miles an hour, the plane cannot get any faster. So if they tell you that a plane is faster than 80 miles per hour, going up to 400 miles per hour or so on and so forth, and you hear the sound as if it is going faster, it's all because of what you hear, audiology. Okay? Because what happens is that the turbines turn quickly and create this whirring, pitching sound that sounds like you're moving faster, but you are not. That's all what it is. And remember, if you listen to music, certain sounds make you think something is moving faster, depending on the notes and the pitch. And that is what is happening here when they tell you that a plane is moving faster, because you can hear the turbines spooling more. That's all what it is. Planes and anything, birds, whatsoever that flies through the sky cannot go above 80 miles per hour. So that means all space travel and anything that they say is manned in space is all false because of a lack of oxygen. Remember, they tell you that space is a vacuum. We didn't say that. NASA said it. Space is a vacuum. So how can you survive in space without oxygen? And with oxygen, you also need humidity. Both of them work hand in hand together. That's why, for example, if you sleep in a room that has a very low humidity, you start having breathing problems, because there has to be water in the air for you to breathe properly. Without water, you cannot breathe. You have to understand that. Without water, you cannot breathe. So if there's less humidity, you have breathing problems. It feels like you're going to suffocate, and then you suffocate and die. That is what happens. So this is the truth about aircraft travel, which a lot of people don't know. Because in today's world, all military aircrafts are remotely controlled.
When I'm down here, things just look so much different. As opposed to being up there, you know.
You are pilots of the U.S. Navy. I expect nothing less than perfection. Gotcha.
I bow down before the superiority of the opposite sex in many respects. But from time to time, I believe they should bow down before a man.
Please. You like surprises, Ben? Allow me to introduce the future of digital warfare. Eddie flies all by himself.
You mean itself? It will replace us all.
Oh, you think they're gonna trade us all in for that machine?
We have things those computers can never have, like instincts, feelings, moral judgment.
What am I supposed to tell all the weeping mothers? That we could have got the job done without sacrificing their sons and daughters, but we decided not to?
It's putting all of our lives at unnecessary risk.
You wanted to be on the cutting edge? This is it.
One to control, we've had a lightning strike.
That strike has rewired him somehow.
He's aware of himself.
What the hell is he doing?
It just selected a target.
What target?
This is a national security crisis.
He could kill 50,000 people or more with that load.
He's gone rogue.
I'm taking fire. Must engage.
Situation is critical.
If you make me, I will blast you right out the sky.
They got me! I'm hit! I'm hit!
Where are you? I know you're out here.
That's why there are very few pilots in the military, because it is not a requirement. Now, today, the government might try to lie to you and NASA that they are trying to find a way to fly military aircrafts unmanned. They have been doing it for donkey years. Don't let anybody lie to you. All commercial planes, all military aircraft are autopiloted and remotely controlled. They have been doing it for years. So for example, if you watch a movie called Stealth, starring George Lucas, Jessica Biel, and Jamie Foxx, and they tell you that they were doing a military experiment on an aircraft that could fly on its own, they are all lying to you, because all military aircraft fly on their own. That's why you have very few military elite aircraft pilots. They try to make you believe that to get up to that level of being an elite military aircraft pilot, that it's rigorous work, so a lot of people fail. It's all false. It's because it is not necessary. All military aircraft are remotely controlled. That's it. So when you see all the maneuvers that they make up there for you in air shows and whatsoever, there's nobody, absolutely nobody on those planes. It's virtually empty. That's true. And before now in history, because when the government, the people who run the world, the people who are the controllers of the concealed mystery, of iniquity of this world, who run this world through the concealed mystery of iniquity. All right? When they were inventing airplanes, at first they knew that there was a problem with oxygen, with people flying in those airplanes. So if you notice in history, they had a time in which they had 2 pilots. They thought that the 2-pilot cockpit would solve that problem of military aircraft. 2 pilots in the cockpit. But this wasn't the case. Why did they have 2 pilots? Because one would always fly and the other would try to tell them what to do, all right? But both of them become disoriented and it still didn't work. So that's why they had to remove man from aircraft, from military aircraft, all right? And remotely control them and autopilot it.
Taking her to the I did get so Mr. Funk Master, yo be that's who
So all wars in this world right now are fabricated because the military planes are remotely controlled. And in order to fight against another military, each military has to give themselves data from their opposing armies on where their planes will be, so that they can shoot it down and fabricate a military war for you. So all wars today are constructed deliberately. And the question we need to ask, as we always ask, is this: why would these people go through such, a thing? Why would they spend this much money? Why would they construct armies and fight, when all military aircraft are remotely controlled and are sharing data? Why would they do such a thing? Because you people still don't understand, you are dummies as usual, that the greatest thing in this world, in which nothing can buy, valuable than the whole earth itself combined together, is a human soul. Until you understand that and you start keeping the commandments of the Creator and following after Him and stopping to do wickedness, you will go to hell and the lake of fire, which is right behind you. So do know that. So continuing on, part of the reason for us explaining all this for you is because you're going to be hearing a lot of crashes this year. Airplanes and helicopters. An example of a helicopter crash right now is Kobe Bryant's death. Kobe Bryant did not die in no helicopter crash. That was all fabricated because it's still part of the programming that the government, the families who run the world for Satan, are programming you into believing what will happen in the future when planes start falling out from the sky, because they deliberately remotely control them to do so. Because pilots do not have any control over any plane, commercial airplane. They don't have any control over any airplane. If an airplane is going to crash, it's going to crash. There is nothing that the pilots can do about it. So what you watch on TV, for example, like Denzel Washington saving a plane from crashing, or crashing in such a manner that people were saved on flight, is all false. So all the movies that you watch about airplanes is only trying to sell you an illusion that man, human being, can fly aircraft, commercial aircraft or military jets today in crazy maneuvers that you see. It's all false, because all pilots are sitting ducks in every airplane. The only thing that those pilots are there for is to deceive you. They also use them, all right, to make you believe that airplanes take off and land by those pilots. The pilots are just choreographing takeoff and landing. That's all what they're there for. And besides that, they read the dials and tell ground control if what ground control is seeing is the same as what's happening up there. That's all what you're doing, nothing more. The pilots are deceived into believing that they actually fly the planes, because when you start out to be a pilot, the first thing that they teach you is how to fly propeller airplanes. And people actually fly propeller airplanes, but the longer you stay in a propeller airplane, you start having disorientation. So they teach those pilots there first, and then when they start teaching them how to fly the commercial planes, they make them understand that they have to trust the autopilots more. So the pilots know how to fly, but they really don't know how to fly, because when you fly the jet airplanes, which are the commercial airplanes, it's all autopiloted and remotely controlled from ground control. Now, the pilots in the Air Force know this hoax. They know it's a hoax. But the top tier military pilots belong to the families or are members or affiliated with the families who run the world. The people who are the controllers of the concealed mystery of iniquity of this world. So they know it's a hoax. That's what's going on. So all military aircraft are remotely controlled. All planes are too, that use jet engines. Because all this is going somewhere, as we have explained. You heard that Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. And with that, let's get into what's going on with Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant did not die in no helicopter crash. Let's go.
Taking her to the Mr. Funk Master. There's too many you know. There's too many you know. Taking her to the Mr. Funk Master. There's too many you know. Taking her to the Mr. Funk Master. There's too many you know. Taking her to the so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, there's too many. Taking her to the so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, there's too many you know.
CNN Breaking News.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Don Lemon. Right now, so much of the world is just in shock and disbelief, trying to process what has happened today and make some sense of this Gigantic loss. Here's what we know right now, and even though it has been several hours, it is still stunning to say the words that Kobe Bryant, the legendary NBA star, is dead tonight. His adorable 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, known as Gigi, also dead tonight. 7 other people, a baseball coach, a pilot, all dead. The helicopter they were traveling in crashed outside of Los Angeles. No word yet on why it crashed. But it went down and it caught fire on a hillside in Calabasas, California, about 30 miles outside of Los Angeles. Everyone on board was on their way to Thousand Oaks, California. They were on their way to a youth basketball game at the Mamba Sports Academy. That is a training center opened by Kobe Bryant for young athletes. It opened just a year ago. I want you to take a look now. This is the Staples Center in Los Angeles, where people have been gathering there all afternoon, just not wanting to stay home. They're paying tribute and they're being with other fans of Kobe Bryant at the place where he played most of his home games in the 20 years with the LA Lakers. I'm going to take you there live in just a minute. We have so much to report to you about this tragic story. There's no possible way to even show you even a fraction of the tributes that are being shared memories and heartfelt personal reflections about Kobe Bryant that are flooding social media sites right now. We have heard from Michael Jordan, we've heard from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we've heard from Magic Johnson, we've heard from the former President Barack Obama, and a universe of people whose names you have never heard of, whose lives were touched, whose aspirations were boosted, who are in mourning tonight because an inspirational athlete, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and a family man is dead at just 41 years old, talking about Kobe Bryant. And we have new information now about the weather at the time of this crash. I want to get straight to Calabasas, California now, and CNN's Nick Watt. Nick, hello to you. You have been covering this story now. You're at the scene, and please tell us what officials are saying about the conditions there.
Well, you know, so far, Don, officials have said very little about the potential cause of the crash. You know, those 18 people from the NTSB are still in the air flying west. They'll land here late tonight. But the weather will clearly, Don, be a focus of this investigation. Now, we have heard from CNN's meteorologists that the humidity in that air this morning was maybe 100%. So that air would have been like soup. There was this marine layer that we often see in the mornings here in Southern California, plus a storm front moving through. So visibility was bad. You know, I spoke to a friend of mine who's a pilot who was planning to fly today and did not fly because of the weather. But Don, so far, absolutely nothing official from anybody official as to what the cause might be. I imagine we'll hear from the NTSB sometime tomorrow. Now, people around here, they report a thick fog this morning. They also report hearing a loud crash as that helicopter hit that hillside. And you know, a fire broke out. That was the first thing that first responders had to deal with. They had to contain this brush fire before securing the scene so that investigators can try to figure out what went on. Listen, they're going to look into the safety record of this particular helicopter, this particular model. They're going to look into the pilot's background. They're going to look at that course. They're going to analyze any radio traffic. But weather would right now appear, Don, to be the focus of where they will be looking forward to try and figure this out. But right now, LA just aghast, speechless. One radio sports announcer I heard this morning said, this is going to be like JFK. You will remember where you were when Kobe Bryant died. Don?
When I got someone texted me, actually a very famous director and producer texted me and said, I cannot believe it. Got the first indication from TMZ and said, Don, please tell me, because TMZ is reporting it, does that absolutely mean it's true? And I said, I hadn't heard about it. But as I'm looking over my notes here and over the initial reports, Nick, the initial report came in as a brush fire. Is that so?
Well, I am not sure about that, but that was certainly the initial thing that they had to respond to. And just going back to what you were texted there, one young girl came up to me about an hour ago and said, have they actually found Kobe's body? Is there still hope? Have they actually found his body yet? Real disbelief. Listen, this guy transcended basketball. He transcended sport, and particularly here in LA, he was much loved partly because of events like the one he was going to today at the Mamba Academy, to a tournament. I've spoken to a number of parents who were there waiting for Kobe and his daughter Gigi for their game that was supposed to be happening at noon. When the news broke in that gymnasium, there were audible screams. There were then kids who got down on one knee and prayed. Don?
Yeah, Nick, I just spoke to a father in Los Angeles who had to coach his daughter's basketball team today, and he said the mood was definitely somber at his daughter's gym and the basketball team there. Nick Watt joining us from Calabasas, California. Nick, we will get back to you, and if you get more information, let us know. Thank you, Nick Watt. We want to take a look now at the video. This is LeBron James arriving back in Los Angeles just a short time ago, and you can see, obviously, emotional. You can see him wiping his eyes. Just last night, James surpassed Bryant for the number three spot on the NBA all-time scoring list. You can see him hugging someone there. Again, this video just coming in to CNN. That's LeBron James just arriving back. Emotional LeBron James. The last tweet that he gave last night, actually congratulations to James. We're looking at live pictures now from the Staples Center, outside the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and you can see there is a makeshift memorial and a tribute to Kobe Bryant, and I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. The late, and I'll add to that, great, legendary Kobe Bryant.
So recently, there's been a lot of news about Kobe Bryant. We woke up on the 26th of January to the news. About 3 days, or let's say maybe 1 day or maybe 2 days after, we're not sure of the timeline, after Kobe Bryant was told that LeBron James had surpassed him to be third on the all-time scoring list. Then all of a sudden, on the 26th of January, news started flooding in that Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash with his 13-year-old daughter. Now, before we continue on, one thing we'd like to make you understand is the fact that we've already explained throughout the roll call series that there is going to be a time in the future in which the government, the families who run the world, are going to shut down power, and that they're also going to make sure that everything that's electronically connected or electronically working shuts down. And there's going to be a whole lot of plane crashes, cars, trains, ships stuck wherever they are. People are going to die. People are going to come up missing. And Christianity is going to tell you it's the rapture. And through this orchestrated account, a lot of people who have no natural intelligence are going to receive the artificial intelligence chip. Now, this helicopter crash goes into this fact. Now, before Kobe Bryant even went through this helicopter crash or news that we heard, there had been programming that Kobe Bryant would die in a helicopter crash incident. The people, the families who run the world, okay, the people that they have put to be of influence in our world, that they retire them. And when they retire them in such a way as a hard delete from the memories of the public. Now, Kobe Bryant, specifically, this is what I'm saying. I want you to listen now, all right? We have no facts and no evidence, so we do not want people to stand up and say, you said this or not. These are just our thoughts, the very next statements that we're going to make, okay? We have no facts or evidence to show you. Kobe Bryant isn't dead. Neither is his daughter. But here is the question that a lot of people do not pay attention to. Why would Kobe Bryant be kissing a daughter like this? Is the biggest question that nobody has ever asked. Why haven't people been able to ask these questions? Because as long as you do not care about the commandments of the Creator, when the truth and evidence is presented right before your eyes, you wouldn't be able to make sense of it. Now, Kobe Bryant kissing his daughter here in this particular act and manner and it was shown on national television, as you can see here in the report that says CNN. Kobe Bryant, 13-year-old daughter among 9 killed in helicopter crash. This picture paints a very particular image. What is it painting? It's telling you specifically that Kobe Bryant was a known pedophilia, known by all the hierarchy in Hollywood and the families who run the world, protected him in his pedophilia, because no father should kiss a daughter this way. Now, moving on from this, a lot of people do not know that Gianni Bryant right here, Kobe Bryant's daughter, is not female. This is a little boy. Let's show you proof before we continue on. Now, here is a picture of Kobe Bryant's daughter. I want you guys to take very special attention looking at this picture. What do you think is off here? If you've been through the roll call series, you would know automatically that this is a little boy. Why is Kobe Bryant's daughter a little boy? Because he is trying to place the hands on the waist of a female. But as you can see right here, this hand position right here is the placement for the male waist. Because skeleton determines the gender and not the appearance that you're seeing here and thinking that this is a daughter or that this is a female in Kobe Bryant's daughter. Placing the hands on the male waist, it cannot find the location for the female waist because this is not a girl. It's a little boy. You can also see right here that the hips right here is above the crotch, is not below it. The hips right here is above the crotch. This is the crotch right here. As you can tell, right here, the hips are above it. Why is that the case? Because Kobe Bryant's daughter is 100% male and not a female in any way, shape, or form. Here is Kobe Bryant again with the daughter. As you can see right here, this lady, this small baby, is trying to place the hands on the female waist, but it does not exist because that's the position for the male waist. Because Kobe Bryant's daughter, whom the public is making you cry over, instead of telling you the truth of what's really going on, they are hiding the fact, because everybody who's singing about Kobe Bryant's greatness and how he died has forgotten to tell you the truth that Kobe Bryant was a known pedophile amongst them. Because as long as you do not keep the commandments of the Creator and seek after Him in all that you do, your emotions will be used against you. What you see and what you hear will be used against you, because your mind is clouded by demons, because you have refused truth. You are allowing yourself to receive deception and lies, and you will go to hell and the lake of fire which is right behind you. Here's another picture of Kobe Bryant's daughter. This is straight up a little boy. The hips are above the crotch. This is the highest point in those hips, the widest point. It's above the crotch. Kobe Bryant's so-called daughter here, the crotch would be right here. But here is the hip location for that. It's above it, because this is a little boy and not a little girl. The public, the so-called media, who controls what you hear and sways your emotions because you do not keep the commandments of the Creator and you do not check and verify whatsoever you hear with what He says, because you are just as wicked as these people. The families who run the world, the government, YouTube and the rest, who are protecting Kobe Bryant's pedophilia. Let's continue on. Here's another picture of Kobe Bryant with the daughter. As you can see right here, this leg cross is not the leg cross of a female. You can see that this young boy whose childhood has been taken away from them is trying so much to contort the legs to sit like a woman, but it's not, because it's a man. That's why she can't cross these legs at the thighs. Rather, it's crossing it like a man should, because of the narrow pubic arch that he has because it's a boy. And you can see that this is the straight torso of a boy, straight back of a boy, up and down, because this is no little girl, it's a little boy. So let's continue with another picture. Here's another picture. I want you to take a good look at that picture in the face. That is the face of a little boy. It's not a little girl. Let's go to another picture. And we're back with this picture. Why would a parent, a dad, kiss a daughter this way? This is gross and this is terrible. And the public refuse to see the picture that's been painted on the media. Rather, they are saying and believing what the media has swayed their emotions to go to. Why is the public deceived? Because the public do not keep the commandments of the Creator. They do not care about the truth. All they care about is their feelings and emotions, which is going to send them to hell in the lake of fire. Because the question everybody should have asked is, why is this man kissing this little girl now? In this way, shape and form. But now that you even know that this little girl is not a girl but is a boy, you can see how gross this action is. And it's not just one picture. Let's show you another picture of this repeatedly on how Kobe Bryant kisses this daughter, which you have known now is a boy. Here's another picture of Kobe Bryant doing the same thing. Why is this man repeatedly kissing the daughter this way? When you now know, as you have now known, that this is a little boy and not a little girl. Because Kobe Bryant was a known pedophile. That's why if you did watch Kobe Bryant and you look at his face, you would notice that he looks like someone who's mentally ill. So is Kobe Bryant really dead? Or is it the fact that he was taken into hiding to continue in his lifestyle or whatsoever he wanted to do, away from the public eye? As in most times, the families who run the world do a hard delete on the members of the concealed mystery of iniquity. So, from time to time, the government does a hard delete on the people they use to influence your mind. Like they did a hard delete on Michael Jackson. They did a hard delete on Prince. They did a hard delete on this rap Nipsey Hussle. So from time to time, for services that they have rendered, because this is what these people want, the government controls the narrative of its superstars and do a hard delete from memories of the public so that they can go on living their lives. Because as we have said, even though we have no fact and evidence, that Kobe Bryant isn't dead. Now, Kobe Bryant always had legal issues with his wife. They wanted a divorce. Why would the wife want a divorce? Let's read some facts to you first. So Kobe Bryant's wife had always wanted a divorce from Kobe Bryant. What was the reason why? Now, Kobe Bryant's wife is part of the members of the concealed mystery of iniquity. Alright? So she knows exactly what Kobe Bryant was always up to, because Kobe Bryant was a pedophile. The images that we've shown you show you that he is a pedophile. Why has nobody asked this question? Why is Kobe Bryant kissing the daughter? The so-called daughter which you know now, that is a son this way. Nobody's asked that question. So it says here, their marriage also survived a sexual assault lawsuit. Kobe was accused of raping a 19-year-old hotel worker in 2004. Does that not sound like pedophilia to you? 19-year-old? I mean, Kobe Bryant is rich. He has money. He can afford any type of woman he wants in the world. But yet he wants a 19-year-old, which we think and believe it wasn't a 19-year-old. This was just reported to fit the narrative. So even in 2011, as you can read right here, it says that Kobe Bryant's wife filed for divorce. But she didn't go through with it. Why? Because Kobe Bryant had planned with the government, alright, who had trained him from childhood to be in the position that he is, that there would be a hard delete at some point in his life because he was part of the members of the concealed mystery of iniquity of this world.
Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, be that's who made. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, be that's who many you know. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, be that's who made. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, be that's who many you know. That's who many you know. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, that's who many you know. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, that's who many you know. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, be that's who made. Taking her to the I did this step, ain't been so Mr. Funk Master. Yo, be that's who many you know.
Despite the fact that the satanic families who run the world and run the whole entire system of governance in every single country around the world put up transgenders for you in places of power and places of influence to control your reality. Because the one thing that you have to understand is this: the primary reason for transgenders is in worship of Satan. The primary reason for transgenders is to make them a habitation of demons. And these demons which inhabit a transgender are used in satanic rituals in the worship of Satan, which must be carried out publicly and privately for the satanic families who run the world to maintain power over creation. A lot of people do not understand that the reason why this deception is so strong, such that even if someone sees the truth, they still deny what they see with their eyes and what their ears hear, is because of demonic manifestations. You have to understand this very clearly. The whole world is covered with demons. The reason why people cannot understand the truth and make sense of it is because of demons. Demons are in everything, in every area and aspect of life. There's demons attached to everything. So if you do not have the filter of the Creator, as we explained all through Roll Call series, if you do not have the filter of the Creator, we're not talking about Jesus, God, Elohim, Yahweh, Yehoshua, which are all the names of Satan as we have told you on Roll Call, you will not be able to see through these demonic manifestations. And as we have explained, 90% of the human population are practicing Satanists, but they do not understand that. Can you believe that there are people who have listened to this Roll Call series? The only thing that they'll get out of this Roll Call series is transgenders, and the fact that we have shown you with proof that albinos, anybody with straight hair, are genetically unintelligent and genetically dumb. That's the only thing they'll get. Why is that? Because anybody who is not interested in seeking out his Creator and the reason why he is in this world is a child of Satan. So when you see some people take life very vaguely, all right, they are not interested in seeking out the truth. All they are paying attention to is transgenders. Those are people who are children of Satan. Because the reason for we presenting all this information to you is so that you can understand that there is something going on in this world, and that something is trying to hide the fact that we were created, and that something is trying to send you to hell and the lake of fire which is right behind you. People do not understand that literally. When we say hell and the lake of fire is right behind you, they think maybe we're talking in some sort of like synonyms, but we are making a very literal statement, because people do not understand the way the world is shaped, that hell and the lake of fire is right behind you. So continuing on, the government puts up transgenders because transgenders are used in the worship of Satan. If the whole entire public would come to the realization that there is something wrong with their reality, they would turn to their Creator. What the satanic families, the government of this world, does is that they put up body doubles to confuse you. So for example, if you go taking a look at the pictures of Beyonce, it's very confusing. Sometimes you see that she comes out like a woman. The hips are below the crotch, curves like a real woman. And then sometimes you take another picture and it looks like a man. Why is that the case? Because the government is confusing your mind about what you're seeing. So the very big question that we should ask here is this: why would the government create a transgender, all right, somebody who was born in a gender, and then they take that person and through surgery, all right, change the physical appearance of that person into a gender that they were not born with? And then after that, they create a body double who is not transgender to act like the person that they transgendered. Why would the government do such a thing? Because here is what's going on. People do not understand this. You are either a child of the Creator or you are a child of Satan. There is no middle ground. There's nothing like saying, I am not for either one of them. You are either going to be a child of the Creator or you're either a child of Satan. So since the government are Satanists, they must practice Satanism to the max in everything that they do. So the transgenders are created to worship Satan, a habitation of demons, to be used in rituals to Satan both publicly and privately. So public rituals sometimes includes all the music festivals that you go to, or live shows that you do attend, or TV shows that you do watch on your TV, which is televised live. Those are public rituals, because when you have the whole crowd gathered around a celebrity singing songs, they are creating energy and adoration for Satan without them knowing. The public does not know that they are practicing Satanist. The reason why they do not know is because they are not as organized as the families who run the world. So they think that they are not Satanists. So the public has been deceived to believe that as long as they are not worshiping Satan per se, or going to the church of Satan, that they are not Satanists. But the truth is this: everybody that is involved in the practice of wickedness against another human being who has not tried to harm them or kill them in any way, shape, or form is a practicing Satanist. We have told you that all throughout the series of Roll Call. Okay? So when the government creates these transgenders for the worship of Satan in their many rituals, all right, publicly and privately, the public, the dumb public, do recognize sometimes that something is off with the people put in front of them. Because there are sometimes you just get that vibe, you get that feeling. Why is this person looking so masculine when the person says that they are female? Or why is this person looking so effeminate when they say that they are male? The public gets that because the Creator did give all of us understanding. If every child of Satan who is living in this world got to know the truth about this world, they would deny their father who is Satan. So the government, to make sure that this dumb satanic public's eyes are not open to the truth, they create body doubles for their transgenders whom they use in public rituals and private rituals as well. So that's what's going on here. So sometimes when you go to take a look at the pictures of Beyonce, you find out that she looks like a woman. She's very, very feminine, just like the picture that you're seeing right here. You can see that these hips and thighs are so full, and these hips are below the crotch, as you can see right here in this particular picture. See that? The hips are below the crotch, curving like a woman, Q angle below the crotch. And sometimes you go and find another picture of Beyonce like this one, and you find out that the hips and the Q angle are above the crotch like a man. So you become confused which one is which. But because Beyonce is presented to you as a female, you actually believe that she is one because you saw this picture. Meanwhile, this is a body double of Beyonce. So what happens is that in these public shows, because people do not understand that every musical or live event is choreographed. All the artists are doing are lip syncing. They are not singing actually. Because you can see on a lot of the stage performances, which include a lot of dancing and moving, it's actually impossible for you to hold a note. So for example, if you've watched the Michael Jackson Motown performance, all right, in which he did the moonwalk, a lot of people thought that Michael Jackson was actually singing while dancing. He wasn't doing that. Michael Jackson was lip syncing. So a lot of the live shows that you go to watch are actually lip synced. So what happens is that they have practiced for months, for weeks, for days on how the performance should go. So sometimes when you hear during a live performance an artist speaks or says, "Hey, New York City," that is the point in the choreography they have braked and made sure that that artist would speak there and then. All through the show, it's lip syncing. So there are particular places in the show which they're gonna break down and make sure that the artist speaks so it looks like it's a full live performance. So all live shows are a choreography practice. It's more like you watching let's say a film that has been made, okay? It's been done over and you watch the live recording. So that's just what you're looking at. You're watching the live recording of a choreographed, performed event that was practiced for months and years. Everything is made in such a way that it is synchronized perfectly. So what happens in this kind of shows is that Beyonce can come on the show and start dancing. Then maybe on the next song, or maybe the lights go out, the body double takes over. So you'll be seeing two people performing without knowing that they are two people, and all the while you're thinking it's just Beyonce that you're looking at. So when there's a costume change, or there is breaks and intermittent breaks, especially during night shows, this is what usually happens. The real Beyonce will dance, the fake Beyonce will dance, and throw you guys all into confusion. Because you'll be looking and saying, "Oh, this looks like a man." Then all of a sudden she changes clothes and changes appearances, changes hair, comes out again, and you look at this and say, "Oh, it's a woman. Hips are below the crotch, full thighs." But look at this. This is a man. Hips above the crotch, man. So that is what is going on. Almost every transgender has a double, a body double, which the government deliberately puts in your face to confuse you from seeing and understanding what you're looking at. So without you having the knowledge of the Creator and keeping His commandments, you'll be fooled like everybody else here is fooled. Because it is unbelievable at the foolishness of people. People will listen to whatsoever we are saying right here, and none of that will pique their interest. Why do you think that is? That somebody would have listened to the whole entire roll call series, and the only thing that they remember is transgenders, because they are children of Satan. Instead of taking the information that we have given them to save their soul, they still think this is a joke. All they care about is transgenders and some bullshit information that has nothing to do with their soul. Don't be like that. Know the truth and save your soul. Welcome to the concluding series of Roll Call. This is Roll Call part number 14, and this will round up this series for now. In the future, if it's necessary, we'll continue on with Roll Call, maybe part number 15 or 16, and so on and so forth. But for now, our work is temporarily done on YouTube, so we don't expect to be making any new videos for now. We don't know yet. We can't guarantee that we won't make a video. We can't guarantee that we will make a video, But what we do guarantee is that you will be hearing from us on whatsoever we are up to or doing. We will put it out on YouTube if the channel does still exist. If it does not exist, if the channel has been shut down by the families who run the world through the Vatican, then it is all right. Nevertheless, our work would have been done because we have led you all up to this particular point on YouTube for you to understand the truth. Because every information that we have given you from start to finish till this particular roll call is for you to save your soul and save the souls of your family, your children, to save them from what's coming in the future by them understanding and knowing the truth. Because Satan has changed the natural order of life in so many ways that a lot of people are so confused. There is no truth, absolutely no truth anywhere. And why is there no truth? Because as long as you forsake the commandments of the Creator, which is the meaning of adultery, which your Christian churches, your synagogues of Satan will not tell you. Adultery means forsaking the commandments of the Creator. Forsaking the commandments of the Creator means that you have known the Creator before, but now you have chosen another God over the Creator. That is the meaning of adultery.
Taking her to the fever. I did this gap. Some Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be that's who made. Taking her to the. I did this gap. Some Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be that's who many you know. That's who many you know. Taking her to the. I did this gap. Some Mr. Funkmaster.
We don't have time to explain the physical aspects of it anymore because, as we had told you before earlier, if you study your Bible from Genesis to Revelation, you will never find a man accused of adultery. Now, because of feminism today, manhood has been attacked. Women now have changed their roles and society is all turned upside down. Why have women changed their roles? Because they do not keep the commandments of the Creator. To understand that a woman can never do like a man and can never be a man. And they are finding out the hard way as they get older. Because feminism is very nice when you are young. It's nice, it's a beautiful thing. But by the time when you get older, and no man wants to have anything to do with you because you have chased all the men away, no man wants to stick around with you. That is what feminism does to a woman. A woman can never be like a man. So it's one of those things that women are not taught today. Let me make you understand something. Feminism today has changed the natural order of life. The natural order of life is like a house. All right? At the foundation of the house is a woman. A foundation is not supposed to be seen. It's supposed to be known that it's there at all times. Men are the pillars and the roof over the house. So when you look at a house, what do you see? You don't see the foundation. You see the pillars and you see the roof. So feminism has changed the natural order of life. Women who were the foundation, all right, of the house now want to be pillars and now want to be the roof. They want to be seen. It was not designed that way. Feminism has brought women out from the homes and put them in places that they were not supposed to be, and now it is a problem for society. Because why? A woman can never ever be strong as a man. A woman cannot take a beating. It's the roof of the house and the pillars of the house that take a beating. You put everything you want to put on the walls of the house because the walls of the house are supported by the pillars. You kick it, you throw dust at it, you do everything to it, and the pillars stand tall and strong. Because as a man is supposed to be a covering over the foundation, to protect the foundation from rain, from sun, from all the harsh weather outside. But since Satan has flipped the script now and has communed into humanity, feminism, the woman now seeks to be like a man because feminism has seeped into their mind. Men now act like the world has run out of a woman. If a woman tells them they don't need them anymore, they cry and their whole lives are destroyed. You've never seen that in your Bible and scripture, that a woman left a man and his whole life was destroyed. Men today have more emotions, more in tune with their feelings instead of their logic and their reasoning, and are acting like women. Men are now homosexuals because they are now effeminate, in touch with their feelings instead of being like men. This is what feminism has done. And through TV, Satan keeps preaching to you feminism. It puts up female heroes for you so that you can look up to. It puts up female heroes in movies. You've watched Tomb Raider and all the so many movies that show you female heroism, which doesn't actually exist in real life because a woman was never supposed to take a beating. Women are not designed for that. But now, through feminism, Satan has made women to take a beating. And the beating is making everything go wrong. Because women, as the foundation of the home, want to be leaders and seen as leaders of the household now. And it's all nice when you're young. But when you get older, and those children that you've put all your energy into decide to leave and say they don't want to have anything to do with you, what's going to be your last resort? You're going to resort to saying that men are the problem instead of looking at the fact that you have been the problem all along because you are thinking like a man. And that's what feminism does. And now at the end of the day, you go take up a pet and you abuse that pet day and night. A pet belongs in the wild. Now you drag that pet wherever you go because of feminism has put you where you are. You have now become a dog mom instead of being mom to human beings. That is what feminism does. Because you do not understand the natural order of life. Why don't you understand the natural order of life? Because you're devoid of intelligence. Why are you devoid of intelligence? Because you do not keep the commandments of the Creator. You have believed in the new statement, the new motto for leading humanity today, which is albino supremacy. Anybody with straight hair supremacy, which is actually dumbness and unintelligence. So, in order for anybody, especially the albinos, anybody with straight hair, to have any intelligence, to have natural intelligence, you must keep the commandments of the Creator. You must understand the idea and the logic of life, that the Creator created us black with woolly hair. You have to understand that, because any other thing down the road that you believe in is going to lead you to the artificial intelligence chip. It's going to make your children sick. It's going to make your children dumb and stupid. And the children are the ones who are going to suffer the most in the future because you as a parent did not do your job. That is the summation of the story here that you have to understand. There is absolutely nothing beautiful about albinism, anybody with straight hair. The Creator did not create us to be albinos, anybody with straight hair. Man created that. He created us black with woolly hair, with carbon, which is able to make you strong, necessary for life. That is what the Creator made. There's absolutely nothing beautiful about albinism. If you still think that albinism is the standard of humanity, anybody with straight hair, you are suffering from a spell. You are under a witchcraft spell. It means that you have come under a spell of Satanism and you are a practicing Satanist. There's no beauty in albinism. There's no beauty in having organs that are rotting every minute. There's no beauty in having fecal bones, your genetics being weak, such that your body is working day and night trying to heal you, and because of that you're constantly sick, but you do not know it because the medical industry refuses to tell you that you are genetically sick and ill. There is no beauty in having more fat than muscle mass in your body. There is no beauty in being effeminate. There is no beauty in having no butt. For female albinos, anybody with straight hair, women who have zero butt and do not look like a woman, the way the Creator made women to look like in the image of a black woman. There's no beauty in that. There is no beauty in being weak and being frail. There is no beauty at all in being dumb and unintelligent, because you cannot think because you're genetically sick as an albino, anybody with straight hair. There's no beauty in being served by black people who have been serving albinism for centuries, close now to almost 400 years. There is no beauty in being saved by being weak that black people have to save you today because you lack carbon. There is no beauty in being falsely helped and falsely used, as albinos, anybody with straight hair, are by their albino masters in order for them to stay in power and keep on ruling humanity for Satan. There's no beauty in all of that. So you have to understand those facts today, because if you try to remain as an albino, anybody with straight hair, you are setting up your children for failure. You will have sick children. All the drugs and all the surgeries in the world will not be able to help them because they are genetically sick. Nothing can cure genetic sickness because it's a sickness with your bones. Your bones are sick, and your bones are the foundation for your human body. If your bones are sick, there is no cure for it. So there is no cure in trying to remain as an albino, because you bring up children who are going to be sick, and you are not going to be happy because you spend all the days of your life fending for that sick child. You'll have no rest and peace of mind. And then when you're dead and gone, the child will continue to suffer because of the ego that you had in not keeping the commandments of the Creator and realizing that the Creator made us black with woolly hair. So if you remain as an albino, anybody with straight hair, and you do not let your children know that they are black, that they should procreate with black people so they can get some carbon in the future for themselves, you are setting them up to have no intelligence, because their natural intelligence is going to be eroded away. Because everything an albino, anybody with straight hair, knows today is not real intelligence. It is taught by a black person. And if you are taught wrong, you'll end up wrong. But when you are weak as an albino and you're sickly, you believe everything they tell you. You believe all the fantasies which they tell you today. And therefore you set up yourself and your children and your future generations for failure to receive that artificial intelligence chip when the power gets shut off, and they'll be doomed forever because they'll go to hell and the lake of fire. And in hell and the lake of fire, those children will torture you for you not doing your due diligence to have prepared them so that they did not collect that artificial intelligence chip. Because hell is going to be a place where people will torture one another for their misdeeds. And the demons will do that as well. Because as we have explained, hell is going to be like a dream. A bad dream that you can't wake up in, which you feel everything. Because when you dream in this physical life, that is giving you an example of what the spiritual life looks like. Have you ever had a bad dream that you tried to wake up and you could not, and then finally you did? That's what hell is going to be like. You will feel all the torture, you will feel all the pain, and you'll be burning in the lake of fire, which is right behind you, which your government refuses to tell you because you do not know what this world actually looks like in reality. Everything that you've seen about this world in the maps, in the TV, the globe, the spinning earth, or the flat earth is all false. It is totally something else. And we pray that we can make you see it, hopefully in the future. If you really want to see it, that's what we're working on, to present your reality to you the way that you're supposed to see it. So, with that said, everybody, you should keep the commandments of the Creator. It's the only way that you are going to save yourself from this wicked world. Because remember, we've told you before, this world was destroyed in the flood of Noah and only 8 people survived. The evidence of the destruction of those bodies is what we use as gas in our cars today. We've been driving on gasoline for so many centuries now. It's still not done away. That shows you that a whole lot of people died. And the souls of those people are in hell right now. They are waiting for you because they in hell are screaming day and night, wish they had known. And hell is right behind you. They are waiting for you. Do you want to go that route? Then you can carry on. Keep on committing wickedness. Keep on thinking you know when you don't know. Because let me make you understand something. If you do not understand this story from start to finish, you will fall into a deception. So many people think they know the truth, but what they have are empty straws. Because they're not doing enough due diligence to go after the truth. Because you do know the truth when you hear it. Nobody needs to tell you anything to convince you. You were designed to know the truth. You know it when you hear it. But when you hear it and you choose not to go after it with everything you got, what you will fall into is a deception. And there will be no excuses when you stand before the Creator and say, I did not know. Because there are no excuses when you go to a court of law. The judge will not acquit you of your injustices by you saying, I did not know. There is no middle ground. You're either keeping the commandments of the Creator or you are not. That is what you have to know today. So next on our roll call is the guy that they call Corey Hawkins. Now, this is an advanced way of identifying gender. And we do not recommend that you use this because you have to be very, very advanced. It requires a lot of brain work and paying attention to details and knowing what to look for. So we do not recommend in any way that you use this information to try to identify gender, because in most cases you will fail. 99% out of 100% you will fail. Standard, there's only a 1% probability that you'll get it right. So do not use it in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Now, with Corey Hawkins, why is Corey Hawkins very, very particular? Now, if you watch the movie such as Straight Outta Compton, Corey Hawkins played Dr. Dre, and you also would have known Corey Hawkins in the AMC series called The Walking Dead as well. And you probably also watched Corey Hawkins in the series called 24, which ran on the Fox network. So Corey Hawkins has been one person that we as a team have looked into. Corey Hawkins, and we noticed that for a black male, the way he dresses like a man looks kind of weird. It looks off. So we were always trying to wonder why. Why is Corey Hawkins looking this way? Because this male has a very strange look for a man, because Corey Hawkins is 100% female. Now, if you get on the internet and try to find maybe any valid good pictures of Corey Hawkins, you'll never find it. So what are we going to do to find out if Corey Hawkins is a man or not? So here is the technique, and we did use the technique at the very start of roll call part 1. Let's pull up a picture to refresh your memory now. So here is the picture to refresh your memory that we talked about, that women have oval shaped eyes, all right, and that women all have Asian eyes. I want you to take a good look at this picture, because we did make you understand that the eyes are the windows to the soul. With males have a deep set of eyes. So that means that a man's eye is more retractable into his skull. Because of the high testosterone that males have, it makes a man's eye to form a hood or cap over his eyes. So it looks like the man's eye is deeply set into his skull. With females, because females lack that quality of testosterone, and remember, as we have always said, in all examples of gender comparisons, we are talking about black men and women, because they are the standard. So if you insert yourself into this as an albino, anybody with straight hair, this does not apply to you, because you are suffering from albinism. So everything is out of whack and out of place. So nothing is what it's supposed to be anymore. So that's why we keep saying this, all right, that for the standard comparisons of the genders, we are talking about black men and women, and not albinos, anybody with straight hair. So with women, since women do not have that high level of testosterone as males do, they do not have that growth around the eyes which causes the eye sockets to have a hood. So a woman's face or a woman's eyes are more like plainly, all right, set in the face. They are not retracted into the skull like a man's own. They are much more further out into the face. So this is what Corey Hawkins is exhibiting, and you can tell from the shape of this eye that is Asian eyes like a woman, just like the black woman over here. Now, another thing that you have to notice in this is that with females, females have a higher eyebrow because they lack testosterone, which is not equal to the testosterone levels in males. So the eyebrow of a woman is much more highly set, all right? And this is what you're seeing with this woman over here and with Corey Hawkins, because Corey Hawkins is 100% female. Now let's go read a small article for you to see that, so you can keep this in memory, and we'll leave a link for you to go read it up. But remember, as we have said, you cannot use, you will not be able to use this method of identifying the genders until you have become very, very advanced. And that we say that in 99% of cases that you try using this, that you will come up failing. So do not use this. This was only meant to be used for Corey Hawkins as an example, and that's why we are using it at the end of the video, because we do not want you to try this at home. So here is what we wanted to read to you. But nevertheless, if you come to this website, though we're going to leave a link for you on the screen, we want you to understand that even though they give you basic information and great information about the skeletal differences between male and female, they are not giving you the most definite answers, all right? to the differences in the skeleton. For example, you will not find the fact of them telling you that a female has an arch in her back, or that her pelvis is tilted forward, or the fact that the female hip location is below the crotch and a man's hip location is above the crotch, because at the end of the day, the information that you're reading here are written by Satanists. So they are not giving you the full information, but regardless, you can pick and choose some of the information that you're going to find out here. So for example, there's a lot of false information. For example, you will read in here that they'll tell you that because of testosterone that a man's fingers can be used to determine gender. That's all false. Don't let them lie to you that the index finger, because of testosterone, or the ring finger can be higher than maybe one or the second finger because of high testosterone that males receive. It's all false information, because Satanists write this out for you. They want you to get indoctrinated with the wrong information. But what we want to show you here, all right, is that estrogen correlates with higher eyebrows, fuller lips, and a rounder jawline with a more pointed chin. Now, this is not obviously very correct, okay? And a rounder jawline with a more pointed chin. The only thing that you have to take from this information is that estrogen correlates with higher eyebrows, okay? Fuller lips can be false because you have a lot of males. Remember, everything we're talking about here is talking about black people. There are a lot of black males with very huge and full lips, but they are male. So everything they write here is littered with false information. So that's why you have to be careful reading through this particular website, which we show you, because it's littered with a minefield of information that will send you the wrong way. And like we have explained earlier, intelligence and knowing what you ought to know was not given to everybody. All right? So that's why we read this out for you, so you see and understand clearly, and we throw away the minefields so you don't get any false information. So the only thing that you have to take away from this article is that estrogen correlates with higher eyebrows. This is very, very true, as in the pictures that we have shown you. So this picture here, because estrogen makes women to have higher eyebrows, and women here is talking about black women. We're not talking about albinos or anybody with straight hair, because as we have said, the standard of humanity are blacks. Albinos, anybody with straight hair, are suffering from a whole lot of things that have gone wrong. So they cannot be used as a comparable gender check because of this. So do remember that. Higher estrogen makes the woman, all right, to have higher eyebrows because she has less testosterone than males. And this is what Corey Hawkins is exhibiting. Now let's pull up a picture of Corey Hawkins' mother for you to see that she has the same look as this so-called son of hers, who's actually a woman. And here is Corey Hawkins' mother. Mother in real life. Can you see that the same oval shaped and Asian eyes does exist, and the same high eyebrows? Because this is her daughter and is not a man. According to the history that we read, they say that Corey Hawkins' mother is a real life cop. We don't know how true that is. But regardless, we are trying to make you understand that Corey Hawkins here is 100% female, because Corey Hawkins has the oval eyes of a female, just like a mother, and she looks like a mother and doesn't look like there is any male trait in this face that's different from her mother's face, because Corey Hawkins here is 100% female and not a man in any way. The actor of Straight Outta Compton, who acted as Dr. Dre. Let's continue with some more pictures of Corey Hawkins. As you can see, Corey Hawkins' arms are following the contours of a body like a woman should, because Corey Hawkins is 100% female. And the same thing that we showed you in Kevin Feige, that they have this A form, because women have an A form. They get wider as they get down towards the midsection. This is what Corey Hawkins is exhibiting, because Corey Hawkins is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. Let's get with some more pictures. Here's another picture of Corey Hawkins. As you can tell, the arms are still following the contours of the body because Corey Hawkins is actually a female and not a man in any way. So that is why you cannot determine gender by just the way someone looks. Gender is determined by the skeleton. This is why Satan through the years has taught you guys wrongly through the school educational system and false science, which is meant to indoctrinate you into the worship of Satan instead of truth. So Satan through the years has been telling you all a lot of lies. It's never told you the truth that the skeleton determines the gender and what the differences are in the skeleton actually. Even with those who are in the medical field do not know this truth. That is the truth. Go ask any doctor who's a gynecologist. Ask them this very simple question. Alright? Ask them what's the difference between the male hip and a female hip. They'll give you all sorts of ridiculous answers except the one that matters the most because they are not taught to know, which is that the female hip is below the crotch and the male is above. They won't tell you that. They'll tell you a whole lot of other differences, but not the simple answer. Why? Because Satan is the one training all the doctors in this world. Because as we have shown you, there were no medical doctors or medical institutions or hospitals as it is today in this world 200 years ago. There was none. All through history, there was no such place as you would go to see a medical doctor. When people were sick, they ate the herbs, and the most they would do, they would go and see their priest. The priest had the knowledge of all the herbs and all the right food for them to eat and be healthy. Because once you are healthy, you don't need a doctor. Every disease and sickness that humans suffer is because of nutrition and is because of wickedness. Because every time a human being is wicked and innocent blood is shed, the blood corrupts the earth. The earth becomes poisonous. The plants that now grow are not able to bring out the best nutrients from the earth. Go and study your Bible in the book of Genesis. That's what it says. When Cain killed Abel, what did the Creator say? The earth is caused because of what you have done in shedding innocent blood. So every time that you are wicked to a human being and you cause innocent blood to be shed, every time a police stops a human being for any false and frivolous ticket and makes them pay money, and there's a ripple effect of the amount of money being paid from that person that causes that person to either lose their job and die or something happens to them, because there's a ripple effect of wickedness. When you're wicked to a human being right now, there's a ripple effect that goes on and on and on and on. And when the person dies, that blood, when it's shed, goes into the ground. When it goes into the ground, it corrupts the ground. The earth, the plants which now grow on this earth are not able to produce enough healthy food for you. So every food that you eat becomes poisonous. And when it becomes poisonous, you become unhealthy and you become sick. So sicknesses in this world, which the satanic medical industry and your Christian religion refuse to tell you the truth, is because of wickedness to another human being. Go study your Bible now. Cain killed Abel. Go read it specifically. The Creator said the earth is caused because of you. When you plant your crops, it will not yield forth its fruit. Should we read that to you? Let's read it. So we're not going to read the whole story, but you can go read it on your own, okay? It says, "Then the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother?" And we are reading from Genesis chapter number 4 in the Geneva Bible, and we're reading from verse number 9, and we're going to read to verse number 12. Continue reading. It says, "Then the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? Who answered, I cannot tell. Am I my brother's keeper? Again he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood." I want you to pay specific attention to the words now. It says, the voice of thy brother's blood. That means Abel was dead, but the blood of Abel was crying out from the earth in which it was shed into. Now, let's listen. Pay attention now. It says, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the earth. Now, listen to the next words. It says, now therefore thou art cursed from the earth. Cain was not cursed. The earth is cursed. That's what that statement means. If the Creator meant to curse Cain, he would have just said, you are cursed. But he did not say so. He said, you are cursed from the earth. That means the earth has separated itself away from you. It's now cursed. Now listen to the concluding statement so you understand what the Creator is saying here. He's saying, now therefore thou art cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thine hand. When you shall till the ground, remember, we get all our food from plants. All of our food comes from plants. So even though you're eating animals and fish, the animals and fish are eating plants or eating other animals who are eating from plants. So we get all our food from the earth, from plants. So it says, when you shall till the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto you her strength. A vagabond and a renegade shalt thou be in the earth. What does that mean? The Creator is telling Cain here specifically, when you grow your crops, the crops are cursed. They shall not yield unto you the strength. Why should they not yield unto you the strength? They will not produce the complete nutrients that you need to feed to be healthy. And because of that, anybody who spots you in the earth will know that you are not feeding right, because you shall become so feeble. That is the reason why Cain could be known as someone who kills someone. Because every time you do wickedness to a human being, you are cursing the earth. And whatsoever food that you eat from that earth will not give you enough nutrients for you to be healthy. That is the reason why so many people are sick today, because of wickedness. I hope you understand that. There's a spiritual connection between doing wickedness and the earth. So that is how Cain was known. Because wherever he went to plant his crops and grow his animals, the earth will not yield unto him the best. So he looked feeble and weak. So that's why Cain cried to the Creator and said, any man who sees me will kill me, because they will see how feeble and weak I am, because the earth will refuse to give me the best of its crops that I should eat and be healthy. This is the story, but it's been written in such a way by the translators of the Bible that you do not understand it, because the Bibles that you read were translated by your government. Let's get back to Corey Hawkins now. Here's another picture of Corey Hawkins, and you can see the hourglass figure and acute Q angle that's below the crotch, and the fact that Corey Hawkins' arms follow the contours of the body. From directly under Corey Hawkins' elbows here, you can see that an hourglass figure forms. And do not be fooled by the fact that a lot of men like to dress up in this very tight kind of suits. It doesn't make them to have a female form. The reason why this form does exist in Corey Hawkins is because Corey Hawkins is 100% female. And here is Corey Hawkins again. As you can still see, that hourglass figure, that A-line and A-form which females have, is what Corey Hawkins exhibits, because Corey Hawkins is 100% female. As you can tell, following my mouse, that she has an hourglass figure, right? All the way from underneath the elbows, she gets wider and wider and wider. And don't worry about this hipster pants that she's wearing, trying to make you believe that she has a male crotch. Corey Hawkins is 100% female, and not a man in any way, shape, or form. And here is Corey Hawkins again with members of Straight Outta Compton, the cast members, and none of them ever told you here that Corey Hawkins is 100% female, because Satan runs everybody. And as long as you're not keeping the commandments of the Creator, you are just as wicked as these people. So don't keep pointing your hands at them. You are just as wicked as them. As long as you do not keep the commandments of the Creator, as long as you're practicing wickedness and calling it a job, you are doing wickedness. You are just as wicked as they are. So Corey Hawkins, he is 100% female, and even then you can still notice that there is an acute Q angle that's happening below the crotch, because Corey Hawkins has the wide pelvis of a female. You can tell it here, even though the clothes are trying to hide it, but you can tell there's an hourglass figure and a huge humongous hips of a female, because Corey Hawkins is 100% female. And here's another picture of Corey Hawkins from the side. You can tell that this is a female form. There's an arch in that back, but you can tell the cute Q angle here and the huge humongous hips of a female. And this lady here, her name is Anna Diop. She never ever told you one day that Corey Hawkins is a woman. Everybody is lying. Everybody today who is big or who is successful in the industry are all family related. We have explained this before. Everybody in the sphere of contact that becomes a superstar is related. So a lot of people know about Jay-Z, they know about 2chainz, they know about Kanye West, they know about Rick Ross, and they know about P. Diddy. Now, a lot of stories are always created amongst these superstars. Have you ever wondered, how is it that one person just comes up from nowhere and becomes the superstar of the day? What happens is that the families who run the world through their affiliates have certain lineages and families they have always used, all right, to create superstars or to create people that we adore. So if you do not belong to those family lineages, or you are not affiliated to them, you can never be a superstar. That's how superstars are chosen. So when you look at people like Jay-Z, 2chainz, Kanye West, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy, they are not in the position they are by their own hard work. They just happen to possess the greatest talent. They belong to certain lineages or are affiliates whom the satanic families who run the world choose to be in the position that they are in. So if you do not belong to those lineages and you are not affiliated, no matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, you will never ever be able to rise to the top. So forget about all the stories they tell you through their songs that they work hard, because that's what the system tries to make you believe, that if you work hard that you can get to the position that they are in. It's all false. Those stories are told just to put you in rotation. That's it. You'll work day and night but never get to that position. Why? Because you do not belong to the family lineages. So all these people here, at one point in time, Jay-Z, 2chainz, Kanye West, P. Diddy, and Rick Ross, they would have been related by one progenitor. That is how they got chosen. So when we started our channel, the one thing that we always wanted you to understand was the reason for transgenders. And one of the reasons that we told you the reason for transgenders is the fact that they are created in worship of Satan. It is a satanic practice to take a child and make that child to live in a gender that the child was not born with, in worship of a deity. So the first reason for a transgender is in worship of a deity, which is Satan. All right? Now, the second reason for a transgender is that they serve as loyal servants to the cause. Because when you take a child and force the child to live in a gender that he or she was not born with, what you have taken away from that child is her identity or his identity as the gender that she or he was born in. What does that mean? So for example, if you take a male child and you castrate this child, you have taken away manhood away from that child. So that child can never live and function as a man. So because that child can never live and function as a man, the child will have no other way to live but to live through whatsoever cause you provide for that child. So that is the second reason for creating transgenders, to serve as loyal servants. Now, the next thing that you have to understand in all of this is that transgenders are owned. They are owned as someone would own a car, a house, a watch, a piece of clothing, or a shoe. They are owned. And the person who owns them controls them through an affiliate, somebody who handles the transgenders for them. So we want to break down the system of rulership, of power control, so you understand what's going on here. So for example, when you see someone who's married to a transgender, because for example in this picture we have shown you that Steven Spielberg is a female and here is a wife, all right? The wife is an affiliate to the families who run the world. This transgender in Steven Spielberg is owned by that family, and this woman is the affiliate. She's the one who's controlling Steven Spielberg for the satanic families that run the world. So she right here would have real knowledge of who the satanic families are. So we're showing you how the power structure works. Let's move to another picture. So this picture here is Donald Trump and Melania Trump. Now Melania Trump is married to Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump is owned. So the person telling Donald Trump what to do is actually Melania Trump. So Melania Trump would be directly related or would know the families that run the world. So we've shown you already that George Lucas is a woman, all right? Melody Hobson, the black woman here, all right, is married to George Lucas. So that means George Lucas is owned by the satanic families who run the world. And Melody here, the so-called wife, is an affiliate. That means all the knowledge that George Lucas has comes from Melody. This is how the order and construction is made. So the families that run the world create the transgenders. Then they create affiliates, people who handle those transgenders for them. That is how it works. And so with that, we continue on and tell you one more thing in this structure of control so you get the whole picture correctly. Now there's one more method of control used to control the affiliates, and that is homosexuality. People do not understand that homosexuality is a form of control. Why is it a form of control? Because you have made someone to get involved in acts that are demeaning, and you have graphic knowledge as well as evidence that this person is a homosexual. So you can always dangle exposing that person's behavior to the public, because everything is constructed in such a way that it's a machinery that you can't get out from. The media is owned directly by the satanic families who run the world. So even though you are an affiliate, they can use the media to create whatsoever stories they want about you and destroy your image. So there's no way for you to run out of it. They provide you with everything, but at the same time, they can bring you down through the media. So homosexuality is one of those forms of control that the satanic families use to control their affiliates. So since this lady right here is married to Steven Spielberg, she is in a homosexual relationship as a form of control over her, because she virtually has to do abominable things with Steven Spielberg, which we can't talk about here. So homosexual ties are a form of control. So that's why you will see everybody in Hollywood who is a superstar going around with a transgender, but you do not know because you do not know how to identify the gender. You're looking at the facial features and you are not looking at the skeleton. Let's show you some proof now. So, for example, the proof that we want to show you is in the lady called Kris Jenner. Now, Kris Jenner has a boyfriend whose name goes by Corey Gamble. Corey Gamble here is a woman and not a man. Don't be bothered about these facial features. So when you see Kris Jenner, all right, go around with Corey Gamble, it's a form of control over her because Kris Jenner here would be an affiliate in order to control her and all the money that they put under her. She has to be in a homosexual relationship. That is why she goes around with Corey Gamble. Now, before that, Kris Jenner was married to who? Bruce Jenner, who is now a transgender. A form of control. Hope that makes sense now. So homosexuality is a form of control. So even though they're trying to make everybody homosexual, is a form of control on the population that they have used throughout time. And you have to understand this, as we have always told you. Everything that's happening now is nothing new. It happened before the flood and it's still happening now today. All these forms of control. This is ancient satanic practice right from the dawn of time. So what you have to understand in all this is that homosexuality is a form of control used to control all the so-called people whom the satanic families who run the world put up to use as a sort of influence to influence your mind into believing this constructed reality which we are all living in. So in this example, as we've all shown you, everybody who is in some sort of place who is influencing your world, right, that you know today, in any particular aspect of life, is a homosexual. Because homosexuality is a form of control. It's an ancient practice right from the dawn of time to use homosexuality as a form of control. You've probably heard in time past that the so-called Spartans were homosexuals. You've also heard such things as maybe if you are in the military, at the higher echelons of military service, we're not talking about that maybe you're just, let's say, someone who just came in through the infantry or what. But at the highest echelons of military service, that means when we're talking about highest echelons here, we're talking about those who pull the strings. All right? That particular set of people, the cabal who pull the strings on what goes on militarily around the world, are all homosexuals because it's a form of control. This same practice trickles down into everything else because people do not understand that the whole world is set up as a military organization. So that's why you take oaths. That's why you sign non-disclosure agreements, because at the highest echelons of that service, you have to have a homosexual tie. So everybody that you see in Hollywood, the superstars today, all right, are all homosexuals. It is a granted service of duty that you have to be one if you have to be successful. That is how the satanic families who run the world keep a control of their stooges. So for example, right here, Denzel Washington is with Corey Gamble, which we have shown you is actually a woman. Why is Denzel Washington with Corey Gamble? And Denzel Washington one day has never mentioned the fact that this man right here with a beard is actually a woman. Because they have to be involved in this kind of weird relationships as a form of control, which the families who run the world have put on them. So that's why every now and then you see someone in Hollywood or someone who's an influencer in your world walk around with a transgender, as Denzel Washington is doing right here with Corey Gamble. Let's show you another picture of somebody else. So here is Steve Harvey with Corey Gamble. Why hasn't Steve Harvey told you that Corey Gamble is a woman? because it's a form of control that these people who have been initiated since childhood, trained to be in the position that they are in, have to go through. They have to get involved in this kind of weird relationships with transgenders because it's a form of control, homosexuality. Even though in this example, Corey Gamble isn't a man, but it's a woman acting like a man. So it's a form of a homosexual control. So here is Tyler Perry with Crystal Stewart. Crystal Stewart starred in the movie called Matrimony, in which Tyler Perry directed. Now, people do not understand that Tyler Perry owns the biggest studio in the whole entire world. It is the biggest studio in the world. Now, because Tyler Perry was trained from childhood to be in the position that he is today, one of those methods of control, all right, over Tyler Perry, because they have made him technically to own the biggest studio in the world, which he doesn't own per se because he's just the face of it. The real owners are behind it. A form of control over Tyler Perry is that Tyler Perry himself has to be a homosexual. When you see Tyler Perry play a woman in so many of his movies, like Madea, all right, it's because Tyler Perry was trained from childhood and homosexuality was a part of that control. Because Tyler Perry should have told you right here that Crystal Stewart, who starred in the movie Matrimony, which he directed, is a man, a transgender. But Tyler Perry never told you so. Why? Because he was trained from childhood to be in that position that he is. So here is another example right here. This is 50 Cent with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Tekashi 6ix9ine is a woman. What is 50 Cent doing with a woman who's pretending to be a man in Tekashi 6ix9ine here? And 50 Cent never told you one day that Tekashi 6ix9ine, right, is actually a female, because him, 50 Cent, would have been trained from childhood to be in the position that he is in today. When you see such people as this, as Kate Capshaw, married to Steven Spielberg, who is a woman, it's because Kate Capshaw here would have been trained from childhood to be an affiliate, to control a transgender such as Steven Spielberg. So homosexuality is a form of control. That is the reason why it is being passed down to the public. That is why they have to make this public and make it to be an accepted norm. Because right now you find homosexuality in everything that you do. You turn on your TV set, right, and you watch an ad for a drug. They make you see homosexuals. You go to watch a film in a cinema, a film that has nothing and is of no concern that any homosexuality should be involved in it, and you see it. For example, now in Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, in the very last scene, you have homosexuals kissing. Why is that the case? Because what they are trying to influence your mind now is that they want to force to make you think as a homosexual. When you become accustomed to seeing people on your TV in a homosexual union, and through even ads that they show you on TV like drugs, which have nothing at all to do with homosexuality, or any ad at all that talks about a product which they bring homosexuality into it, they are trying to desensitize you. Desensitization to evil. So you now accept it as a norm. And because now a lot of people, so you have to understand this, we living in this world have no control over what they produce for us. So we are not in Hollywood. We don't produce any movies. So we can't control the content. We don't sing our own songs or create our own songs. So we can't control the type of music that we hear. So until you start accepting the fact that you should get involved in producing your own independent content, so you can shut out all the bullshit that you watch on your TV, all right? And shut out all the crazy music that you listen to. If you start getting involved in creating your own independent content, then you can shut out a lot of this bullshit that they're forcing down your throat. But what the government, the system is doing to make sure that you cannot be an independent content creator is that they make things harder. So that's why, for example, the government tricks you and tells you that they've raised the minimum wage. You believe the minimum wage has been raised, but they also raise the prices, all right, of food, water, rent, and everything. So the minimum wage that was increased, right, turns out to be a detriment because they're taking it all away from you again. It's a hoax. Why is the government so worried about taxing you, taking your money? Is because they do not want you to be an independent creator of content. Because once you can have enough money set aside, you will have money to start dreaming and thinking about changing things that you do not like. They do not want that. They want the status quo to remain. So it's very, very important that you do not just become someone who is a consumer of entertainment. You have to try to create your own. That is the reason why it is very important that you start writing down your history. Because through the content which the government controls from what you see and what you hear, if you keep getting accustomed and getting addicted to what they produce for you, you will become desensitized to evil. Wickedness will always become a norm because you will not see it as anything. It will just be what is accepted as something that is a normal routine. So this is very, very important. Write down your history. It's the only way you can control your reality. Because without that, all you will have is what the government produces for you. And so with that, we have come to the end. But this is just the beginning. And we leave you with these words. Always look with your eyes, but see with your brain.
Taking her to the I did this step so Mr. Funkmaster, yo be that's who made taking her to the I did this step so Mr. Funkmaster, yo be that's who many you know, that's who many you know, taking her to the I did this step so Mr. Funkmaster, yo, that's who you know, taking her to the this is cat, so Mr. Funkmaster, yo, that's who many you know.